Please enjoy this feature presentation of the Crooked River Radio Network. This program may contain adult content and is intended for mature audiences only.
Radioactive is sponsored by CrookedRiverRadio.com. Crooked River Radio is an internet radio station that is live 24/7 playing top 40 hits from the 60s through the 80s. You can find us on Live 365, Simple Radio, Roku, Radio Garden, and even Alexa, as well as our website. Come on and join us on the Crooked River.
The story you are about to see is true. However, the names were changed to protect the imbeciles.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
Welcome to Radioactive. Join us as we look at technology and life in the world around us, and have a little fun with it too. I'm Pat Morrow, and
this is John Brown.
I'm Erik Nannarone.
I'm Flora Morrow.
And
I'm Dale Miracle, and this is Radioactive.
only 10 minutes late. What the hell? Good evening, everybody. Are you there? Are you there?
Yeah.
Evening.
Evening. Yeah, that's right.
Hello.
Yeah, we got a full crew tonight. Look at this. We got Erik. Good evening, Erik. We got the Miracle Child.
Flora.
We got the Miracle Child.
Everybody.
We got Melanie and Justine, and there's probably 2 or 3 more on the way. Never know. Flora, say something. I want to see something here.
Okay, say something. See something.
Okay, that worked. Thank you. Say something. Say something.
You still have them.
I know.
Starting
Just,
soon.
jeez. Show's been running 2 minutes. Well, look who's getting witchy.
Didn't know if you could see it. Yeah, I was just
Oh
making sure
my
you could see
goodness.
it.
Yeah, I can see well enough to actually make a an eye appointment.
Now, just let's. He told me the other day, would I mind calling? Well, I called to start out with, but when they come off with, and I give his name and his birthday, and they started, well, we already have him in our system on Hibbard Drive. I'm like, huh? So I looked at your dad. I said, did you ever? He goes, so needless to say, he had to take the phone call over anyway. So yes, essentially he made the appointment, but but I started it out. But yeah, they had him in their system on Hibbard. So
I still have yet to figure that one out. The only thing I can think of is they may have, one of those doctors may have been with that Davis Vision down there in the valley, because that's where I'd went when we lived on Hibbard.
Sure you didn't forget.
No, I've never been there. At least not that I know of. And you behave yourself over there.
You gotta love when doctors just give the total wrong information.
excuse me.
Yeah, this wasn't wrong information. I used to live on Hibbard Drive over there in Stowe.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
God, that was 22
Well,
years ago.
they had records of it.
Wow.
That is weird that it would go back that far.
Was that the last time you had your eyes checked?
Probably. No, because there has been a time within the last however many years your dad and I have been together. Because he got a pair just before I did, but I think that was back in 2009.
Sorry.
Oh, it
So
hasn't been that long.
Yes, it was.
When I got out of school, I had my eyes checked. It was 4 years ago.
Well, I was going to say that was back in 1975 or 6, wasn't it?
When I got out of
73.
Eyeglasses even invented?
Oh, Dale. Oh, gosh.
Or was that that back when they had the monocles.
Well, I'm going to let you guys go. I'll see y'all tomorrow.
Jeez. Ay. Oh, well.
We're allowed to pick on you. It's your birthday tomorrow.
It's whose birthday? Ain't my birthday.
Oh, that's why you wouldn't tell me whose birthday it
Yeah,
was.
I figured you'd all figure it out sooner or later. Yeah, I wake up tomorrow morning and I'll be a year older. Good Lord. I thought about doing a little 5-minute dissertation on what it's like to be this old. Shit, you know.
70 looks great on you, Dad.
Yeah, and 60 looks good on you, too.
Oh, God, you guys.
Touche.
Ay, you guys.
I'm 2 years from being 50, and look how sexy I am.
And no, not conceited at all either, huh?
All right, let's see. Who else can make us all laugh tonight, huh? Oh, my goodness.
Oh, well, we gotta definitely top last week's show, so
I don't know how we're going to do that.
yeah.
Well,
exactly.
I told the pizza delivery guy tonight, I said, because he goes, so how was your day today and whatever? And I'm like going, well, I said, it's been one of them days. I said, my husband and I do this radio show, Sunday nights. And I said, yeah, I said, we had one of the fellas, I says, he's a truck driver and he actually stopped in a place called Uranus, Missouri. The kid looked at me and kind of chuckled. And I said, they actually make fudge out there. He's like, yeah, it was funny. I told Patrick though. I said we need to get cards so that I can start handing them out when people, because this kid.
Yeah, I've actually thought about doing that.
This kid actually said something about. He says, yeah, I might, but walk away and how many other things is he going to do? Is he going to remember crookedriverradio.com?
Or well, what if he's still out driving? Really, the live 365 app is probably the better, because if he's still working at the point of the show, he's probably not going to be able to pull up the website.
Well, and that's that was another thing I was thinking too. If he was working, I wouldn't know how. So yeah, we probably should put together some cards or something so that when we.
Yeah, that's something we'll have to look into.
So we can.
I agree. You can get me that for my birthday.
Because I'll get right on that, dear.
You can do that too.
I know a good place to go to get cards done.
Family show.
Yeah, thanks, Justine.
I was going to say Young's screen printing, because I did that when I was at a previous place, which Pat knows what I'm talking about. And I got a bunch of business cards for that place, and I passed them out. So and they looked really good too. But Young's is a really good place if you need anything screen printed.
Well, I'll tell you what. I thought about getting some T-shirts and that through there. We still may do that. And I'd like to get some for the show and for the station both. I think that'd be a cool idea. And that way we can hand them out at promotions and stuff like that. But that's a little ways down the
Or
road.
just wear them around
Radioactive.
so people, so people can ask questions. What the heck is that? Then we explain.
The
I'm
radioactive.
a radioactive groupie.
Yeah.
I like the idea. I like the idea of that, Millie. I do. You better hush up. I'll make you go do it.
I don't think that'd work real good for Uranus if I wore a T-shirt, because I don't know very many people are going to ask me about my anus.
Being radioactive.
I mean, there
What
might
the
be
hell do you
some,
have for
there might be some curious people.
If somebody was, I would be kind of worried.
Yeah,
Radioactive in Uranus.
it's radioactive in Uranus.
I
After
actually,
too much Taco Bell.
Your keto Taco Bell.
Or any kind of Mexican food.
It was, well, I had a choice. There's a Cracker Barrel that I can actually walk to, but I didn't feel like sitting down and having to get back up and walk over there again. But there's a Burger King, KFC, a Crystals, and a Taco Bell. I had to look up what a Crystals is, and apparently it's a like a clone of like White Castle hamburger.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to them.
So the Taco Bell was the easiest thing for me to get to. I just had to go out of the driveway, do like a U into their driveway, come back out. So it's mostly convenient.
yes, Crystal Burgers. I remember those.
Yeah, I actually had to search for it on my phone. I'm like, what is a Crystals? And then Google Maps actually had the audacity to say that it was comparable to In-N-Out Burger. And I'm like, no.
That ain't happening.
That's not that. No. That's blasphemy right there.
Oh my.
Yeah, I'm checking to make sure we're broadcasting everywhere.
I know we were live on YouTube because I was checking my mic volumes on the feed because I know last week's shows that I did, my volume was not. You could barely hear me.
The big thing. What you need to do is you need to figure out where the prime point of talking into that microphone is, because that's what your issue is.
He sounds fine tonight.
You sound good tonight.
It's the Well, I also turned up the volume through.
It's like, Erik, it's like the difference with this, and then if I talk back like this, this is how you sound a lot of times. Instead of being up here like this, you sound like you're back here like this, and that's where your volume goes to.
Well, no, I'm always up on the mic. I actually, when you first let me into Zoom, I turned up my Zoom volume, and now it sounds perfect.
Yeah, you sound good now.
And my levels, the lights up on the board are perfect. So, I went up about 10% on the volume inside of Zoom.
Yeah, that sounds good now.
Good. I'm glad. Anyway, enough
Quiet,
about me.
numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Oh, Jesus.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I had to do that.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever.
I love Mo Howard. Mo Howard was the bomb, man.
And Pat and I had our own runarounds with audio volume things on that board, because you have the audio level on the computer, you have the audio level on the mixing board.
You know what I can't figure
Well,
out?
and
Go ahead, Erik. Go ahead, Erik.
So, just finishing Dale's point, I was saying that. Am I muting? Because it shows that you're not getting me.
I hear you.
Okay. Sorry. No, just to finish Dale's point of the different sound things, there's also the sound inside of Zoom that you have to consider too. If that's low, then your volume will be off. Go ahead, Pat. Sorry, I just wanted to add on or finish off what Dale was saying. But I'm going to stop rambling and let you make your point.
I'm going to take I don't know how we're going to fix this one issue with this phone. And if anybody's out there that's used any of this stuff would like to chime in, you can get us on Facebook or whatever. There is it's so weird, because when somebody calls in on the phone on the other computer, it comes into Zoom over here. It comes into it goes out the station over here, but it doesn't go through this broadcaster, this XSplit that I'm using. And I cannot figure out for the life of me why that's doing that.
That is strange because I know Skype does fine. Why? And also maybe if we tell them what we use, they might be able to.
What we're using for this is Skype and
the text now is the one we're having trouble with.
And I don't have any idea. You know, it's coming from the other computer. It's got to be.
If anybody knows about text now, please tell or comment on whatever outlet you're watching on, and or private message Crooked River Radio or email.
Office. If you want to get a hold of me, if you have an answer for this, it's office@crookedriverradio.com. That'll pretty much come straight to me. Anyway, I don't want to talk about that all night. We are having issues with the phone lines still, and I eventually am going to get this fixed. It may take me a while, but we're going to get it. So how's your week going, Dale? I know you're in, Tennessee tonight? You're not working, are you?
And it's vacation.
Oh.
What is that? Can't remember the name of the town. Let me look. Fairfield by Marriott in Strawberry Plains.
Strawberry Plains, Tennessee. That's sounds like it's down in the sticks.
Yeah, it's down in the area where something's 10 miles away and it's going to take you 20 minutes to get there.
Oh. That sounds like from here to Stowe. Anyway, what time we got here? It's about 7:30. We're going to take this is going to be a light show tonight, just because wasn't a whole lot of material that I wanted to or was able to find, and at least not that I wanted to talk about. So it's going to be kind of late. We're going to do a couple of we're probably going to do a Flora's Corners, of course. We're going to talk about that swatting issue that we were going to talk about last week and never made it there. Flora found me some September 2021 news wrap-ups on the lighter side. I do want to talk about the Browns a little bit, but I want to wait. John Brown is supposed to come in. If he does by 8 o'clock, we'll probably talk about it then.
By the way, on a quick note, did you see, we were talking about that high school football team that they didn't know really if it was a school or not?
Yeah.
Well, that school disbanded. I don't know if you saw that, so they're no longer a school.
It wasn't a school to begin with.
Yeah, I agree.
But, yeah, we'll cover a little bit of the Browns. Might even talk some Steelers. What do you got? What do you think about the Steelers, Justine? Justine, hello? Is this thing on? Steelers actually got beat by Cincinnati today.
So now they're 1-2, right?
Yeah.
Along with Kansas City.
That game surprised the living daylights out of me. I didn't think Kansas City would lose to them. But that's for another show. That's for tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I don't think any of us did. Yeah.
But that one kind of surprised me. There's a couple of surprising ones. I know my picks for the other day were pretty close. Not perfect, but pretty close.
How about them Steelers, Justine?
Whatever. Sorry, I had to step away from my phone. I ordered pizza for dinner.
That's what I
And
had too.
it just got here.
Yeah, I had chicken. Flora had
Pizza.
pizza. They had to come back to bring my coleslaw. 'Cause they forgot it.
Yeah, but they
I
brought
had lasagna.
I had a rock.
Oh. Ay, 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 ay.
Yeah, we got Halloween coming up here pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
33 more days, something like that. Good grief.
Justine ran a marathon yesterday.
Yep. Let's talk about that. How was that thing?
It was only a half marathon because I'm only half crazy.
Okay.
But it was amazing. Very, very hilly. But my second best finish.
Excellent. Didn't do any video while you were going along, so we couldn't show that. I would have used it.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I was trying the last 2 or 3 miles were killing me. So
Excruciating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had you back behind on the towpath, back behind like the Inner Belt nightclub and that.
Yeah.
And there was 2 signs. One said a 5% grade, and then you go a little bit further, and there was another 5% grade. And I'm like,
you were on the towpath down there. I know where that's at.
But only for about a half mile. And I looked at these 2 girls ahead of me, and I was like, what kind of cruel freaking joke is this?
Yeah.
And then I passed them up.
Well, that's the way it should be.
We got stuck watching her. We couldn't move because I parked in the parking garage on the side of the library, but up a block in front of that one church and diagonal from the courthouse. And I'm like, well, crap. We can't move. We're stuck here. So we ended up seeing her at mile 4, mile 12, and then we met her at the finish line.
At 13, yeah. It was a good time, though.
I'm glad you had a good time. What was your time?
3 hours, 12 minutes, and 2 seconds.
What's your best?
2 hours, 52 minutes, and 3 seconds.
Oh, you got a ways to go to beat that.
20 minutes, yeah. I'll be ready for Disney when I run it in February.
Oh, so I take it you're going to Florida.
For my birthday, yep.
I wish I could go too. And you're going all kinds of places that I'd like to go. Jimmy Buffett last night.
Oh, that was the best way to end my day.
Yeah, I saw those videos you sent me.
Yeah.
I listened to a couple of them. Unfortunately, we can't roll them here.
I know.
Because of copyright infringements and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But,
We could send you with Dale to work, and then you could maybe go through Uranus. the two of you together in Uranus.
Dale and I running through Uranus.
I can park at the road ranger and she can run back and forth between Uranus.
I wonder if anybody ever has diarrhea. Never mind. I ain't going there. It's gross.
I'm trying to eat my pizza.
That's a little on the gross side.
I mean, that's the best time to talk about it.
No.
Oh, dear.
Flora, you didn't order any fish from Uranus, did you?
I was going to.
We were waiting on yours.
What? I was going to, but I didn't see. The only way I would be able to get the flavor that I really wanted, I would had to have ordered like the one that was like $79 or something, where you had all this assortment. I tell you, when you first talked about it and I went out there, there was a spot where I could have got just the mint flavored chocolate, whatever. And then by the time I got out there this last week, it was the only choice I had. I see you, Melanie. The only choice I had to get the mint was to do that. So I was like, man, I was thinking about I'd just call them and talk to them and see if I could, hey, look, all I want to do is have some of this. Do you suppose you could, put together something? We actually, after all, we talked about Uranus on our show.
Yeah, it's quite fantastic. I mean, you can have phones in Uranus.
Well, I actually thought it was kind of cute that they had this under the funny gifts or whatever, where they had a glass, this wine, like a wine bottle underneath with a glass, that it was like you filled it up with wine down here, and it was never-ending wine. You just keep going like this. You don't have to pop the bottle open because the bottle's down here, and it just keeps filling back up.
I think my favorite sign that they had was their construction sign, and it said Uranus is expanding.
Ew.
You have gas or what?
Must be deadly.
Oh my.
Yeah.
I would like to be the person that has to call the gas company, natural gas company in that part of St. Robert, and tell them that we have a gas leak in Uranus. You need to come and plug it. And it wouldn't be a prank call either.
Yeah.
It'd be real.
All right, well, let's lighten this up a little bit. I do have something here I want to play.
How'd you lighten it up after that topic?
This isn't quite as good as the Uranus jokes, but I found this joke as I was skimming through YouTube this afternoon looking for something to put on the show. There's about 3.5 minute joke this guy tells. It's pretty good. You may have already heard it before, but it's still good anyways. Hang in, we'll be back on the other side of this. You're listening to the Crooked River Radio Network and Radioactive.
Way back in the mountains, there lived this little boy and his mama. They got up one morning, didn't have nothing to eat. That little boy had a pet duck there. Mama said, son, I hate to tell you this, we're going to have to eat that duck or starve to death. Mama, I can't eat my pet duck. Said, I'll take it downtown and sell it. Buy something to eat. She said, that's okay then, go ahead. Little boy gets a duck under his arm, he goes down the road, he comes to a house. Knock on the door, and a man opened the door, and a little boy walks in the house. That man and woman in there, and he looked up at the man and said, mister, you want to buy my duck? He said, no, I don't want to buy no duck. About that time, that woman said, quick, both of you get in the closet, my husband's coming home. Well, she put the little boy and the duck and that man in the closet. And her husband come in. And she trying to get her husband back out of the house, take her out to eat dinner so he wouldn't see that man in the closet. While they was arguing, that little boy looked up at the man in the closet, said, mister, you want to buy my duck? He said, no, son, I told you one time I don't want to buy no duck. That little boy said, you buy my duck. Don't, I'm going to tell her husband, you're in this closet, you know what he'll do to you. Old man said, what do you take for? Boy said, $100. That man give him $10 bills and get the duck. The woman's still arguing with her husband, trying to get him out of the house. The little boy looks up again and says, mister, will you sell that duck back to me? He said, yeah, what'd you give me? The little boy said, $10. $10, I'll give you $100 for it. That boy said, sell it back to me for $10. No, I'm going to start hollering. You know what that man do to you. Said, son, here's your duck. Back, give me $10. Well, about that time, the woman got her husband out of the house and they left. That man jumped out of the closet and run up the road. And little boy gets his duck and go home. He got home and said, Mama, guess what? She said, what? Said, I sold my duck for $100 and bought it back for $10. Now I got my duck $90. He said, son, I'm ashamed of you. You done somebody wrong. He said, you go down the road. You find a church, go down and ask that preacher to pray for you, forgive you. The little boy goes down the road, he comes to a church. He walks down, the preacher's in the back room or doing something. He hears that boy in there, he said, I'll be there in a minute, son. That little boy said, preacher, I want you to pray for me and forgive me. He said, I done real bad wrong today. That preacher come out and sees that little boy and he said, son, I don't know how you found me, but I'm not buying that duck again.
Want to buy a duck?
Oh my goodness.
Y'all want to buy a duck?
Yeah. That wasn't something I sent you
Just
today,
as
was
bad as, can I pet that dog?
Y'all want to buy a watch? Remember that?
Yeah.
About pet the dog. Melanie, what are you talking about?
No, my
It's a YouTube video.
Oh.
And I think it's this little boy. It's been a while since I saw it, but he keeps asking if, can I pet that dog? I want to pet that dog.
I don't know that one. Y'all want to buy a duck?
Oh my goodness sakes.
Oh, good grief. What fun we are having.
You want some Flora's Corners, or you want to do
Yeah,
some?
let's throw into that for a little bit.
All right.
Those are always such good questions.
My goodness sakes. All right. If you had to leave home for an emergency, what 3 things would you take?
My dogs, some clothes, and probably an HT or a radio.
Well, I mean, that would make sense because you'd have some form of communication just in case you needed it. Clothes, because of course you need clothes to wear. And for me, I would say probably food, some type of food, just, well, depending on where the emergency is. If you're gonna, like, if a person had to be taken to hospital, obviously there's probably food, there's probably a cafeteria or somewhere. But if it's like out in the wild, if they were out on like a trip or something and they somehow got stranded and you had a way to get to them, then yeah, I would take food.
Okay, who's next?
I think I would take my dogs, my phone, and my identification card.
We actually have a stranger in our midst.
Good evening.
Mr. Brown, what's up?
How you doing?
Not doing too badly. How about yourself?
Good. Decided to jump in here. We got home, and I didn't see your link on time, so I wasn't sure what was going on, and then I got busy, and here I am now.
Well, I sent it.
Better late than never.
I sent it at 7, a little bit before 7.
How's it going?
Not too bad. We're in the midst of a Flora's Corners question. You want to answer it?
Oh, no. Sure.
Flora?
It is. If you had to leave home for an emergency, what 3 things would you take?
Well, what kind of emergency are we talking?
It doesn't specify. You're going to get technical on me now.
Well, there's all kinds of emergencies.
Oh, I
mean, there's
know.
emergencies with like natural disasters. There's like emergency. My wife's about to give labor. I mean, what kind of emergency are we talking about
It
here?
didn't say, John.
Typical Republican.
Oh, I didn't say that.
Wait, when did this get political?
Well, because Republicans actually plan ahead and
Oh,
actually have a
dear
brain to think about what's going
God.
on.
Oh,
I mean, yeah, that's true, but
Patrick, you're the one that had to start taking it down that road now. That was your fault on that.
John, I'm so glad you joined us tonight.
Well, I'm just saying, he's the one that brought up politics.
Yes, he
Yep.
did.
Typical Democrat.
No, he's not a typical Democrat. Thank you very much.
So seriously, what kind of emergency are we talking about?
It doesn't say, John.
Is this like a world-ending?
Do you
I'm
know
never coming
what?
back
You
to
know what?
my
You're
home
thinking
emergency?
too much like a claims rep.
Well, I need to know. Is this like I'm never coming back to my house emergency?
It's the apocalypse.
Yeah, or is this like a hurricane evacuation emergency? I mean, there's so many questions I have here.
Oh my goodness gracious sakes!
It's a zombie apocalypse, John.
All right, zombie apocalypse. I take ham radio, my gun. Only 3 things?
Yep, it just says 3 things.
Radio, gun, and ammunition.
What about your kids, wife?
Yeah, what
Well,
about?
they're not inanimate objects. Those aren't things.
Well, boy, you just say Pat's butt because he didn't even bring up about taking the wife. He said he'd get the dogs, his radio.
What year is this? Is this like 1708 where wives are things?
Well, I was
yeah,
thinking.
good point. You better be careful there when you answer that, Pat.
I'm just being honest here. I mean, you don't.
He
I
already
don't-
answered it, Eric, and he put himself under the bus because he didn't say wife.
Well, I
No.
know. Where's the theme song?
I didn't say my husband either.
I know, I heard that.
But people are not things.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So everybody's on their own.
Jesus.
Feast or famine, damn it.
Oh my gosh. You
They
guys are.
obviously are coming with me.
Ah,
And hopefully they
okay.
can grab 3 of their own things. See?
Ah, okay. I see.
me. You insult me and you don't appreciate anything that I do.
Not at all. Not at all.
Ay. Well, John, you really missed a show last week anyway.
What was last week about?
Well, we talked about
Well,
Uranus again.
everything under the sun.
Last week's
We
show.
talked about sporks and forks.
By the end of the last 40 or 45 minutes of that show was probably the most hysterical we've ever done. It just went from bad to worse to right down the sewer.
The question that made everybody laugh was, what one thing would you disinvent?
Yeah,
And
disinvent.
Dale said he would disinvent the sport. And it just went downhill from there.
Before
Sports?
that, the spork
Sport.
Oh, the spork. Ah.
Oh yeah.
talked about having a spork in Uranus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ay. It was something else. It was something
She
else.
asked one of the questions was, have you, or would you ever go to space? And Dale says no. And I thought to myself when he said no, I thought, yeah, because he's already been to Uranus.
Oh my.
He went from bad to worse.
And then Patrick hit a button on his son because his son was taking too long.
Oh,
and
that was a pure mistake.
And that ended up causing some laughter as well. And so Sean's thought for disinventing was to disinvent the button that Dad hit.
he was he took 10 or 15 seconds, and I was going to play the Jeopardy thing on him. And I thought I had it cued, and I can't see real well. And especially in a dark room here like this. And then I thought, well, I got it queued up here, and you heard.
What would you do with a brain if you had one?
So, of course, the girls thought that was pretty funny.
I think it's pretty funny.
If you get a minute, go back and listen to the last 45 minutes of the last show.
Right.
You'll that was pure radio heaven there.
Oh my. Well, I do a lot of driving in the country. I know this is completely off topic, but I'm watching, not really watching, but I just finished watching, before I jumped on this call, a Facebook video of like a harvester harvesting. Okay. Have you guys been out in the country recently? I feel like the harvest is late. I feel like everything's dead. I don't know if it's all the heat that we had or what.
Or is it because the government is paying farmers?
Well, I'll tell you, a lot of it was probably with all the rain we've had this summer.
I was going to say, that's what I was thinking too.
Well, it's like I see complete fields of soy that are just dried up and crispy. I'm not sure if that's how they harvest them.
Oh yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
For what?
Okay.
Now?
Same thing with corn. It's all crispy.
Yeah.
Well,
well, that's.
By the time you get to the end of September, 1st of October, that's when the corn usually runs out. When you go to these places like Soleil's that sells it.
Yeah.
By mid-October, it's pretty much washed up and gone.
Yeah, I grew up in Texas where we didn't have these kind of crops, and lately I've been spending a lot of time in the country for work, and it's quite interesting seeing the amount of land Ohio has dedicated to farming. It's insane.
Well, hell, you ought to go to Indiana or Iowa.
I was almost to Indiana this week. I was in Lima, Van Wert, and Findlay.
So you were close.
Have you ever heard of Van Wert?
Nope.
Oh yeah.
Me neither.
There's a Chrysler plant that was out there. It was actually an old AMC plant.
Well, and I was talking to this one shop owner, and I think it's right down the road from where that plant was. But anyways, he told me back in like 2008 or something like that, his shop got leveled by a tornado, one of the biggest tornadoes.
Oh yeah, Van Wert tornado, yeah. That was true.
His shop got leveled. Because I was like, "Oh, your shop's beautiful." I mean, it looked like a fairly newer shop. He's like, "Yeah, it's not that old. It still looked nice inside, you know."
Yeah, Van Wert's good for those.
It's so flat out there.
They're kind of in line with Xenia and that too.
Wasn't that the tornado that went right between there and Fort Wayne?
Supposedly it went like miles and miles and miles, and it was like the strongest tornado ever measured in Ohio or something.
Did he say what month it was?
I didn't catch. I think he might have, but I didn't catch it.
But I think that was back in November of I forget what year, but that because I think it was in EF4.
The Xenia tornado.
That was in the 70s.
That was back in the late or mid 70s, I think.
Yeah.
And then the Van Wert stuff, there was 2 or 3 of them that went through there in the past. The latest one that I remember went through there in Tipton, and that's probably the one he was talking about. That would have been probably 2012, 13 maybe. I'd have to look it up, but there was a bunch of tornadoes that came through here like the 25th of November. We had a really warm spell come through for 2 or 3 days, and by the end of it, there was a massive cold front that came in behind it and stirred all kinds of crap up.
F4 tornado, November 10th, 2002.
That's Van Wert?
Maybe that's what it was then.
Could be.
Well, I'm guessing his shop didn't get rebuilt till almost 08.
Oh, wow.
Like. So
I would have guessed that probably would have. That may be the same one that I was talking about. Look up Tipton.
Yeah.
Tipton tornado.
Is it Tiffin or Tipton?
Tiffin. Tiffin.
Yeah, that's up near the lake.
You remember the first EF6 that hit Greensburg, Kansas?
I didn't know there was a 6. I thought it went stopped at 5.
That was in 2002.
Yeah.
Pat, November.
November, the same day.
That's the same one then.
Yep, it was
That's
the
the one
same
I
day.
was thinking of.
I thought the National Weather Service, I thought they re-estimated it to be closer to like possibly the first EF6, because I remember driving through that town before, or not before, well, I've driven with another company. I used to go through that area, Route 54, through there quite often. And I was there before it happened, after it happened, and after they were rebuilt. And like what John was saying, you're going through this country, and you see all these old, like 200, 300-year-old farmhouses, and all of a sudden you come into the city limits, and it's like brand new, modern buildings and everything. And then as soon as you leave Greensburg, you're back to the 200-300-year-old buildings.
Are you talking about the? Was this in like out west there?
Yeah, Greensburg, Kansas.
Okay, Kansas. That's those things. What I was thinking was the Reno.
The one in El Reno. Yeah, the one in El Reno was an EF5 that went through. That's El Reno is just like, I'd say 20, 30 miles west of downtown Oklahoma City.
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of. The Reno, Oklahoma.
I know there was an EF4 that hit downtown Dayton 2 years ago.
Yeah, that went over the Hero Arena and ripped it up. Well, that place was ready to be demolished anyway.
I think it was 5 years ago. I think one in Dallas went straight through downtown.
If anybody ever gets a chance, a lot of these colleges do these weather symposiums, and what they do is they take it's usually around the spring of the year. I know Ohio State University does one for people here in Ohio, and it's a one-day thing, and it's an 8-hour event, 8-hour thing. And what they do is they have a bunch of people come in from all over the country to talk about, changes in weather forecasting and all that stuff. Some of it's kind of cut and dry, some of it's a little on the boring side. But when you get somebody like, they had that Mike, what's his name from the Weather Channel? I can't think of his name. He was out during that Reno tornado. He was out in the Weather Channel car, and he got picked up and tossed about 3,500 feet in the Weather Channel car, and it destroyed the car. That was probably one of the most interesting talks I've ever heard as far as weather is concerned. Between him and there was this broadcaster that was on. He actually broadcasted and was
Are you
doing
talking about Mike Bettis?
Bettis, yeah, that was it, Mike Bettis. There was another guy that was an actual broadcaster from Moore, I think, Oklahoma, and his wife was in Reno, and they were covering the storm, and she was giving him first-hand reports of what was happening on the air, and he kept telling her, "Honey, go. You need to get out of that. You need to go, just get out of there, get into some sort of cover." And this went on for 15 or 20 minutes while that storm was processing. It's the most interesting thing I ever heard as far as weather goes. If anybody ever gets a chance to sit in on one of those symposiums, I would suggest it, even if you know nothing about the weather. Because what these do is they not only inform you, but they teach you. They teach you as far as what you can expect. You get first-hand information on the latest weather developments and the stuff that they're doing for tracking and everything like that. It's really cool.
You know, you probably should turn your clock off when you're
Yeah,
having a show. It's very
no way I can
unprofessional.
turn it off.
Very unprofessional.
I could have just muted it.
Sorry, I didn't mean to steal the show there with my own topic. I just thought it was interesting.
It's okay. It's okay.
That's all right. We were a little thin here anyway. It was so bad I ended up having to find a joke on YouTube and play it.
We needed to talk. We needed to have some tech talk, so
Yeah.
that's just fine.
I don't think anything
There
we
was
had
a
was about
tornado.
tech.
Yeah, it was tornadoes.
Yeah.
It's tech.
There was a tornado when I lived in Iowa. That it was a double, and I think that's the one that killed the chasers at that time.
That was
Can't remember.
that was the same one we were just talking about.
Oh.
There was actually 2 or 3 tornadoes spawned in that thing. That was I can't
No,
remember. that guy's
it dropped
name.
down as a double at one time.
Reed Trimmer. That was a guy's name. Reed.
Oh.
R-E-E-D Trimmer. He was a spotter, and he was actually doing research on the stuff. Reed
Yeah,
Timmer.
that wasn't too far from where I lived in Iowa.
I actually got a couple of remembrance ribbons for him. I donated to help his family out. It's pretty cool. But anyway, now that John
speaking of
Brown.
remembrances, and I think I know where you're going with this, Pat. So, speaking of remembrances, but not really, prayers go out to that one guy who was working. I don't know if you saw this near the end of the Browns game. The guy, one of the changing guys who had to be taken off by medical staff. I mean, I know he walked off on his own power. Oh yeah, they showed him, but who knows? Because if he hit his head but was able to walk off, he still could have a concussion. But hopefully, crossing my fingers that he doesn't and he's okay.
Yeah, there was actually that. Did you see that that guy on that was holding the down marker?
Yeah.
He got leveled, and Myles Garrett's over there saying, "I can hold that if you want me to."
Are you talking about the one who his face got cut, or the other one?
The one whose face got cut, yeah. He was He was over there talking to that group of guys on the sideline there, and you could read his lips. He says, "Yeah, if you want me to, I can hold that for you. I can take his place for a couple minutes."
Oh, Lord. I was just relieved that Odell was good.
Yeah, I'm glad.
I had some serious concerns over that. Like, they're paying this guy who was hurt, who really wasn't a performer when he wasn't hurt.
He was more a malcontent than a performer, but
it was just really weird. And now he had a really good game, so that kind of made me happy.
Let's segue into that end of the sports for a little bit. I know I got an actual clip of the thing that really tickled the hell out of me. Did you guys hear the crowd in the background chanting Myles Garrett, thump, 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 and it was loud. It was coming over the radio and everything. That was so cool. But there was a reason that was happening, and I actually have to have about a 1 or 1.5 minute clip of what actually caused that. Why don't we watch that next? And we'll
okay.
Let's see if I find it here. There it is. And I'm going to leave the mic open here. You guys will get a kick out of this. This is why they were chanting Myles Garrett.
Second down on the fake. Pressure coming, and he is buried. It's Owusu Koramoah again. Garrett was there too. 3rd and 14. Fields pressure again, and he is sacked again. Myles Garrett got home, and all of a sudden this Browns team. 4-man rush, pressure coming. Fields in trouble, and he's down again. Myles Garrett's got 2.5 sacks in the first. He's going to be just fine. 0 for 5 on 3rd. Fields in trouble. Down he goes again. The 6th. They're coming. Fields is in trouble. Racing away, and he's sacked again. Myles Garrett. A career day. Living in the backfield. 4.5 sacks.
There's nothing he can do. For some reason, Jason Peters doesn't look like he thinks he has Myles Garrett. If you delay on a guy like him with his speed and how fast he gets off the edge, you're done. Watch. It almost seemed like he thought he was going to sit down and close off.
Wasn't that something?
All I have to say is he better have had that good a game after calling out his teammates this week. He better have, he did back it up, but he had to have that game, that type of game.
Yeah, he called his teammates out.
Calling his teammates out.
And that made it that much better. But that
I don't. What did he do? I missed this whole calling his teammates out.
He told them if he was going to go out there and play, then by God, everybody else was going to, and if they didn't, they were going to answer to him. Pretty much, that's exactly what he told them. And
why weren't they going to go out and play?
Well, it was just to spur them up, stir them up a little bit. But
It was a challenge to the fellow defensive linemen that he thinks we're doing nothing. So he challenged them publicly instead of, doing it during practice or whatever.
If I can play, you can play.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the thing is, defense did suck the last 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it didn't this time. They recorded actually 9 sacks. There was 4.5 by the beginning of that clip showed him with Koramoah. That was they credited him for a 0.5 sack on that one, and then he had 4 of his own, so he was credited with 4.5. Clowney had 2, so there's your 6.5, and then there was 1 or 2 by the other ones that were.
Koramoah had a really good game, too.
Yeah, it was just an awesome display of the defense. And I'll tell you, I didn't think that Chicago's defense was that bad.
No, their defense was good. It was their crappy offense.
And I was surprised. They had lost their 2 best defensive linemen in this game. And the one returned, but Cleo Mack was actually out for most of the game. And that's their top. He's one of the best pass rushers in all the NFL.
And I'm going to say it, the very bloody end, and all you people that doubted Baker, who's laughing now, I went and got me a Baker Mayfield jersey today.
Did you get one of the 75-year anniversary ones, or just a regular?
No, I just got one from one of the local chains.
Okay.
Yeah, but I believe in Baker. I really do.
Well, he's got a lot to prove.
Well, I believe in Baker. We did not need someone that was going to come in and be a rock star, and he wasn't. So,
and that's,
it's like the Batman thing. He's the hero we needed.
He was throwing smart, and that's because of what he had in front of him. There was a couple of times he could have unloaded and probably ended up getting an interception. But he was throwing smart. He was 20. I think it was 27 to 31, something like that, for 240 something yards, 242 yards. Not a bad day. Not a great day, but not a bad day.
Yep. Suck it, all you Baker haters.
Yeah, really. Somebody else snuck in here. Look at this. We got a house full tonight.
QRZ.
Hey, what's happening, Mr. Keith?
Not too much. Not too much. Forgot my microphone wasn't down.
Everybody, Keith Melvin's in the house. Yeah.
All right. Oh, yeah.
We're sitting here talking a little bit of Browns.
Yeah. I was telling everyone.
leave me out.
I was telling everyone who was a Baker hater to suck it.
Okay. Well.
Yep. That's you, Eric. We know that.
No, I wasn't a hater. I was just a little bit of a doubter.
Hater, yes.
Nah, doubter.
So, to me, you always be the Baker hater of our group.
Okay.
Pat was a little skeptical too.
Yeah.
A couple years ago.
Well,
And
I just
told
figured
you
he had to
people.
have time to grow up, and he's pretty much done that.
I told you people. He's
Do
not
you
the
watch
hero.
or do you watch college football at all, John?
No, not really.
Oh, okay.
You didn't see the shellacking of Akron University by Ohio State?
My alma mater sucks.
They got their butts handed to them, didn't they?
Like you didn't expect that the spread was 48, and they covered the spread.
I don't get why that's getting so much coverage. That's not a surprise. Everybody knew Ohio State was going to spank them.
Well, there's been some question about Ohio State's defense.
Mm-hmm.
Or the non-existence of it.
What's up with that little crybaby that ran off the field? What happened with him?
Oh, the kid that got pulled off the field.
He was a linebacker.
Yeah, he got pulled off the field, got into it with the coach, then stormed off the field, said, "Good luck to my teammates, fuck Ohio State," on Twitter.
Yeah, I saw that.
Hey, I'm going to pull a political move here. $5 says he was a Democrat.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Flora.
Okay, I would like I'd like an explanation on that bet, but I mean, I probably agree with you, but I'd like to get an explanation on that.
You are a bad influence on Erik now.
Shake your head.
Oh, man. But anyways, I mean, seriously, you're going to walk off the field like a big baby? Come on.
And literally quit the team in the middle of the game.
Yeah, I mean...
And Ohio State felt obligated to put out a statement that the kid was off the team. Well, no kidding. After what he tweeted, he was off the team when he walked into the locker room. That they didn't really need to. They weren't obligated to put out a statement that he's no longer on the team. But anyway, they felt they had to.
He just told everybody.
Why is everybody always picking on me?
You know what that is? That dude comes from a family who did not discipline their children. He didn't know what it was like to not get his way. Seriously.
Unfortunately, more kids than not come from that nowadays.
Oh, John, it's good to have you back.
And I mean,
he could have used a couple can of whoop ass back when he was a kid. So if my kid ever does that, I don't care if he's an NFL player. I'm gonna go kick his butt. It is what it is. You don't quit on your team halfway through the game. Period.
Just because you got waved off the field because you don't fit the personnel that was supposed to be in on that play. That's why he quit. That's the most ridiculous reason. You know, that's like taking the ball and going home. Exactly what.
Exactly. You're taking your ball. You're gonna go pout and go home, and that's the problem with this young generation is they don't know what sports and conduct is. You don't do that. You don't get your way, so you're gonna go home and cry. I mean, come on. How old is that man? He's a grown ass man, and he's walking off the field in a national stage. How stupid!
Because he knows he'll get camera, time. And of
I
course,
wouldn't call him a grown-ass man.
Well, yeah, at the
kids today
age
don't
of
mature
18, 19, 20.
Kids
yeah,
today
they're
don't
not.
mature till they're about 30, 28, 29.
Well, at the end of the day, if you can go smoke cigarettes and join the military, you're a man. Okay? And the problem is there's parents that don't make their men grow up and be men.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Well, I mean, in society now, and not to get kind of off topic, it's not in every case, but there's so many broken homes where either one of the parents walk out, and I'll just say from what it seems like kids nowadays don't have that father figure.
Well,
that's true.
Not
That's
to say
nice
the
on paper,
mother
but-
can't be both roles, but at the same
can't.
time, oh yeah,
You
wait,
can't. I can't be a mother to my son. He needs my.
But
He
that
needs
that
Jesse for
doesn't
that.
necessarily mean they're not going to succeed. I mean,
No,
look at LeBron
but-
James. He's
what?
he
Hold
was
on. What?
one parent.
My point is,
Well, that's
my-
a great example.
Yeah, I mean, but what my point is, the mother's not always around because she has to work 2 or 3 jobs to raise the child. So he doesn't have any, but he or she, but in this case he, doesn't have the discipline because he doesn't have that parental figure.
Well, we're all just kind of guessing here. We don't know what he grew up with.
I
but-
mean, yeah,
And
but
we're talking about
I'm
Jared.
just,
Yeah, LeBron
I'm
James is a
generality
terrible
here.
example. LeBron James is a terrible example.
Yeah, I'm talking generality, but who knows? Maybe that is his case. But I'm kind of going generality here.
I'm going to take my talents to South Beach.
Yeah. Okay.
There was another guy that was on the Ratbirds back about 15 or 20 years ago that actually was born in Miami and ended up in foster care for most of his teenage life. And he ended up being one of the best running backs Baltimore ever got. He had somebody, some lady found him on the streets when he was like 19, took him in, and tried to help educate him. He was a little bit disabled, if I remember rightly. She brought him on. She took him in, and he ended up auditioning for the Ratbirds and ended up getting on a team.
What movie was that? I can't remember.
I can't remember what it is either, but I remember the story of it.
It had Sandra Bullock in it.
That was an offensive lineman. That was Blindside.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that was it. That's a good movie.
With
Yeah, it was
Michael
Blindside.
Orr. Yeah.
I've been blindsided by that one.
But yeah, that was an offensive lineman. But yeah, I get your point. And I mean, unfortunately, kids nowadays don't always have that, though, where somebody will take them in. And the society needs more of that for the kids who are not, who don't have both parents and are suffering because of that. They need people who will help out, kind of, and take the kid in and teach them the right way. Obviously not overstepping what the parent is hopefully still teaching them as much as they can. But,
If I was sitting in the stands and I saw my son do that, I'd be like that woman, that Black Lives Matter protest. I'd be breaking through the guards, going into the locker room and kicking his ass and making him go back out there. Just saying. Remember that lady in the Black Lives Matter movement? She went and grabbed her like 19-year-old
Who
son
found
by
her-
the ear.
Yeah, exactly.
and drug him away. And he's like, yes, mama, yes, mama. And she's like whooping his butt. That's what kids need. They need discipline. We don't have that in this world.
That was during the riots in Baltimore.
Yep.
Yeah.
But you know, if you spank your kids, child services are knocking on your door.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
No, they're not.
Well.
There's a difference between spanking and abuse.
But kids nowadays, because school teaches, they claim school teaches that spanking is abuse, but really kids just translate it the way they want. So they'll call child services claiming that you're abusing them even if you're just disciplining them. So
there's a difference. There's a difference between spanking and abuse.
Yeah, but kids don't know that. But schools don't clarify, and kids don't understand that. So, they'll just be like, yeah, school taught me you can't spank, so I'm going to call child services on you.
And have at it. Here's the phone number.
Go ahead and call.
Here's the phone number. My kids all know I used to do that. Here's the phone number. Help yourself. You'll be suffering more than we will from that.
You hear about that principal at the...
Yeah. That's another thing altogether.
Went to high school with her.
Principal?
At the Brown School is on administrative
Yeah, the I
leave.
Promise School. She got, I guess, I think did she tell a parent or somebody?
No, she hit the kid. She hit the kid.
Yeah, but she called the parent, or somebody called the parent and said that she slapped him or something. I don't know.
Well, all we can say is allegedly, just to keep us
because it hasn't
safely,
been proven yet.
because we don't want to get in trouble here.
Yeah,
so just allegedly.
Exactly.
And my father-in-law used to be the one to do the paddling and hire.
I wish they still did that nowadays. But I guess I'm a little extreme.
Yep.
Man, that rat dog's still going off.
First or second grade.
She can't hear me, or he, or whoever.
Oh, she's barking at the girls coming home.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll mute the mics when it happens. So y'all don't have to hear it. Let's go into something else here. We got a choice of, we can go into the swatting, which we didn't cover last week. You guys want to do one more serious thing and then we'll lighten it up again?
Sure.
All right. I got about a 6 or 8 minute clip here on the swatting stuff that we were going to talk about last week, where it's what swatting is. Flora, you want to explain it?
The best that I was... Shall we wait a moment? There comes one.
Just so the audience knows, every time I walk in Pat's house, I get mauled by that tiger.
Okay.
Well, one came in. There's still 2 more that will be coming in, but anyhow, we'll see how far we can go here. I assume the other 2 are coming in. Anyway, basically the best that I was able to figure out from what I saw was it's where some kids or people are going out there, and basically what they do is call the police to report something's going on at a house that really isn't. And like in the instance that I had heard, and then Patrick, found this one, was where a fella, this had happened to him, and well, the cops came to the address. The guy that saw the cops outside his house, he decided, well, he needed to go out and find out what was going on. He came out of the house and they shot him. And they killed him because they thought he was somebody breaking in. And here he was the guy that owned the house. And here it was this prank, but they call it swatting. I'm not personally not exactly sure why they called it swatting, but that's, you know, switch or something. I don't know.
Well, the definition of swatting is usually what people are doing is they're calling in saying there's a gunman or there's this or that to try to get a SWAT team in there.
Okay, well,
you know, when it's not needed, that's kind of where it comes from.
Okay. Well, that, like I said, I wasn't 100% sure. So.
Once again, we're talking about stupid kids who don't have any discipline.
All right, we'll be back on the other side of this. Let's roll this thing. You're listening to the Crooked River Radio Network and Radioactive.
New tonight, it's called swatting. It is a growing problem across the country. The term refers to a hoax 911 call with the goal of diverting emergency resources to an unsuspecting person's home. On News 2 at 4, we told you about a victim who found himself in the middle of a swatting call after he refused to give up his Twitter handle. He was part of a nationwide crime spree targeting people with rare usernames worth thousands of dollars. News 2's Alex Dennis explains how minors are suspected of orchestrating the entire scheme that ended with a local man dead, with a story you'll see only here on News 2.
His neighbor called and said, there's police everywhere, and they think a man has killed a woman and he's on your property. You know, you need to take cover.
It was shocking news for 60-year-old Mark Herring, who lived here off of a sleepy country road in Bethpage.
He went out the house with a gun because he heard someone was on his property. And he sees all these cops around him. And they ask if he is Mark Herring, put your hands up. So he tosses the gun away from him to show he's not a threat. Hands up.
A full response from authorities faced the innocent grandfather who died minutes later.
I believe that he was scared to death, and that is what caused his heart attack.
His family rushed to Sumner Regional Medical Center, where they learned more about Herring's final moments.
They just kept talking about this 911 call that was placed.
It had been a prank phone call or a swatting phone call.
Months later, they learned about Shane Sonderman, a minor back in April 2020 when the crime was committed.
He was from Tennessee. He's the one that collected all of our information. My address, my sister's, my mom's, my other sister. Like, he put it on a channel on Discord, which is a gaming chat form.
The private information released for use in an intimidation tactic meant to convince Herring to hand over his one-of-a-kind Twitter handle @Tennessee. Herring refused. Another minor was in on the scheme.
A kid in the United Kingdom made the call to my dad's local police department.
He will not be extradited from the United Kingdom because he is still currently a minor.
Right.
Sonderman is currently behind bars awaiting trial. A federal grand jury indictment claims he had 6 victims across the country. Herring was the only one who died.
They're not playing a game and they're not thinking it's funny. This is legit extortion.
How much money are they selling these handles for?
It's like $3,000, $4,000, like pennies compared to a life.
The family shares Herring's story now for several reasons.
Watch your kids on the internet because they know more than you think they know.
And that those guilty of swatting face tougher penalties.
You've not just changed that one person's life, you've done a ripple effect, and they need to pay for that.
Alex Dennis, News 2.
Sonderman faces a conspiracy charge on a possible 5 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. He'll be back in court July 21st.
All right, what you guys think? Dale, you've been pretty cool.
That's it.
Dale,
that's it. That's what the punishment is. That somebody lost their life, 5 years and $250,000. That's it. That's ridiculous. There needs to be more.
He needs to be flogged.
Harsher punishment. Make an example out of this kid.
Dale and Keith, you guys have been quiet. Let's hear one of you.
You know, jail is not a punishment. Our justice system's a joke, number one.
Well, yeah, I do agree.
He's going to sit there with cable TV for, what was it, 5 years or whatever? I mean, the justice system's a joke.
I mean, he'll get a slap on the wrist, mostly. There's ways people can work the system, unfortunately, and that's why our system is a joke. But Keith or Dale, I don't want to take time away from you.
Did I understand right? This kid is from the UK. How they don't put him in jail and fine him for it?
One of them are. There was two.
Okay.
One from United States, one from UK.
Well, I understood that the guy from UK made the phone call.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, he's not gonna get in trouble at all because he's a minor, that they can't extradite him to the United States.
I'd wait till he was 18 and do it then. He's murdered somebody, then there's no statute of limitations there. He's responsible for the murder of somebody.
Well, he didn't pull the trigger though, which I'm trying to play devil's advocate here. I agree with you, but he's not the one who pulled the trigger. So in court, they could use that argument and say, well, the cops are the one who pulled the trigger, so how is he going to get charged with murder?
Well,
I thought he got charged. He died from a heart attack.
It was. It was my misunderstanding that I thought he had gotten shot, but he actually died of a heart attack. Yes, because he, like they said, they're his family anyhow. You know that he was pretty much scared. You know, he was scared to death or upset so bad that
Couldn't they claim that as natural causes then, and the kid not be charged with murder because the guy had a heart attack?
Well, they must have something that they're going on. You know, I'm guessing to be able to charge him for whatever he did. Well,
let me try to clarify this a little bit for what I know. As far as that, there is a statute or something, if I remember rightly, that says if you it would be like me going to a hitman and hiring him. And even though I'm not responsible for pulling the trigger, and even though I've hired somebody to knock somebody off, I'm still as guilty as that other person is, if not worse. And I think that law would probably follow here. The fact is, the kid knew what he did. He was going through whatever means in order to make that happen and get the phone call made. But he's still as guilty as the other one is.
I mean, they're not guilty of murder. Murder requires intent. But there is some serious issues with this. You got to wonder it would almost need to be a new law passed to define this, because it's not murder because it requires intent. Maybe it's manslaughter. I don't know. And we know it's obviously what do you call that?
Could be
misuse.
Could be involuntary manslaughter.
Yeah, maybe.
Something was also said about conspiracy too.
Conspiracy to commit fraud because he was trying to get money off of the thing that he was trying to get. Dale, you look like you're chomping at the bit, and you haven't had a chance to come in here. Come on in.
No, I pretty much agree with what everyone's saying. I mean, part of this is we need to adapt our laws to current technology, because a lot of this is just wrapped up into like the red tape, because we've had extradition laws for a long time. I don't know how long we've had them. Just reciprocal agreements with other friendly countries. But the whole idea that, I mean, we have our own what I call adolescent laws, where you can be charged as a minor, or in the eyes of a court, you can be tried as an adult. I don't know anything at all about UK law, but I'm wondering if they have that type of, I don't want to call it a loophole, but I wonder if they have that type of litigation in their court system that could try them as an adult, because I know in cases I've seen on those crime shows on TV in the past, that if you're adult enough to make adult decisions, then you can be tried as an adult. So I'm just thinking it's sort of like the mental evaluation, and it goes both ways. You can have a person that could be an adult, but under a mental evaluation, the person may actually have like the mental capacity and the understanding of like a 10-year-old, where you could have, but in the same way, you can have a 12-year-old that is the opposite. They're fully capable of, interacting and that with like an 18 or 20-year-old. So I think that's where part of this comes in, but it's also this whole ridiculousness of the swatting and putting value on things that have no value. It's just ridiculous. I mean,
so what you said about adapting, Dale, sorry to cut you off, but before I lose my train of thought, they need to adapt laws to, in general, not to get off topic, but like just telecommunications in general, because there's no stopping if somebody's harassing somebody and that person blocks them on social media. There's nothing from stopping the person that was blocked. And I've talked to cops about this. From just starting a new account under a false name and continuing harassing the person and just to keep doing it. So they need to tighten the telecommunications harassment and include social media in that. And
well, yeah,
I know that's
agree.
off topic, but
well, I agree. That's what I was that was what I was going to get to there. It's some of my thoughts on this. So like I said, we have to have like an overhaul of the judicial system to be modernized to the current world. And then the last time we've had any modifications to the ITU, the International Telegraph Union, which loosely regulates communications, the internet, at all. And the last time that I know of, and I'm fighting a little bit of a headache, I think the weather's changing or something out there. I don't know why, but I took something for it. Hopefully it'll kick in. But the ITU, the last time they did anything was 1996. And that was the last modernization that we've had. And look at what has changed since 1996. I mean, I think GeoCities was like a year old. I don't even think AOL was even on the actual internet yet. I don't think that happened until like 98 or 99. So I think we have, not in just our country, but in other countries, we need a major overhaul in our laws, in our judicial system. And an overhaul in society. We've already talked about that before.
I'm not sure any of that's ever going to happen.
I know it's just going to be the evolution of society.
With the political atmosphere you have around here now.
Yeah.
And I mean, especially just using the example I used with the, if somebody's harassing somebody, they could just, create fake accounts. I mean, which is stalking, but still, you would think that would fall under the stalking laws. And, even outside of technology, there needs to be an overhaul to come down on these people who are doing this stuff. Who are either, in the case of the story that we're talking about, or doing what, the example I used, they need to come down and make it It seems like I'm all about making examples out of people recently, but they need to, because if you don't, people are just gonna keep getting away with it, and know that they, even though it's wrong, they'll get away with it. So why should they stop? And I know that's a really wrong way of looking at it, but that's how these people are going to look at it. Until they're stopped, they're not going to stop. Until some other force or law stops them, then they're not going to be stopped.
I do want to. I want to break in here for some interesting news I just saw. This is on the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs announced that Andy Reid was feeling ill, so he did not address the media out of caution. I can confirm he left the stadium by an ambulance. Players didn't know he wasn't feeling well and were told he should be okay. Everything is pointing towards the Chiefs taking every precaution. Interesting. That's Andy Reid left in after the game, the Chiefs game with who did they play? Erik, help me out on this.
I'll research it now. I don't remember, but I know that. The
San Diego or somebody like that, wasn't it?
Could have had a heart attack or something.
The Chargers.
Yeah, it was the Chargers. He left in an ambulance right after the game.
I'm looking at the article now. It doesn't really give us anything. I mean, it could have been anything. He could have. I mean, he's an older guy. He could have had a heart attack. Who knows?
Our prayers go out to that guy. He's been one of my favorite coaches even through the years, even for as old as he is. He's a hell of a coach. He took
Kansas City.
He brought the Chargers. He brought Kansas City to what they are now. Man's a hell of a coach. A legend.
Yeah, Kansas City. That whole team just really pisses me off. They just can't seem to. Ever since that playoff game, just the bad calling, and now every time I see a picture of Andy Reid, I have like PTSD on that one game. Hey, but how about them Steelers? They lost to the Bengals.
Yeah, they kind of already covered that subject a little bit.
Oh man, I just saw that. That makes me smile.
Hey, Justine, what do you got to say about that?
Listen, does Justine live in Ohio? Does Justine live in Ohio?
Yeah.
I don't know where she lives. I've never met her in person.
I live in Caldwell Falls.
Okay, any person in Ohio that is a Steelers fan, in my opinion, just didn't like the Browns because they sucked back in the day.
So you're saying a bandwagon fan?
Yes.
No.
Most Steelers fans are bandwagon fans.
No.
Nope.
Unless you're like from Pittsburgh and transplant to Ohio, yeah, you're a bandwagon fan.
We
Let's
have
see
a
here.
family that lived in Pennsylvania. So, does that count?
You said family that lived? No, you have to physically have lived.
Hell, if those...
Looks like the Ravens won too, huh?
Yeah, barely. I had picked them. The only the things that anybody in Pennsylvania will tell you today is
Pittsburgh sucks. Pittsburgh sucks. Pittsburgh sucks. Pittsburgh sucks.
They do suck.
I gotta scratch my nose.
I don't even have to see what you're doing.
I was going to say, I had a feeling there was probably a bird flying.
Duck, it's a flying duck. Want to buy him a duck? Hey, mister, want to buy him a duck?
Oh,
Anyway, we got some, one last item we want to wrap up with this. And we got enough time to. This is something Flora found. It's an actual wrap-up of September 2021's news. on the lighter side. So that's 5-6 minutes long. So let's sling this and then we'll talk about it on the way out.
Flora can take a nap during it.
Yeah, you can do that.
Thank you. I think that sounds like a wonderful idea.
So we'll roll this. We'll be back on the other side. You're listening to Crooked River Radio and the Radioactive Podcast.
Let's take a look at the biggest news stories from September 2021. On September 10th, it was reported that a power outage disrupted more than 80 New York City subway trains for several hours, stranding hundreds of passengers. It was later determined that the power outage was the result of human error, mainly the accidental flipping of an emergency off switch. Public transit officials released a statement saying, yeah, it looks like a dad came in here, saw all the lights on, and flipped every light switch he could find. Subway officials also said the restoration of power was delayed because passengers on 2 different train cars decided that they would rather walk in the dark subway tunnels than wait for rescuers. When asked why they left their train cars, many New Yorkers said, I would rather walk these dark, dangerous, winding tunnels than sit on that damn subway for 1 more minute. After power was restored, officials released a statement saying, forget about it. In animal news, on Tuesday, September 7th, visitors of Omaha, Nebraska's Henry Dorley Zoo were warned to stay inside as a 5,000-pound rhinoceros had broken free of its enclosure. The people running the zoo worked quickly to try and get the rhinoceros back in its enclosure, including calling in Peyton Manning to try and scare the animal back into its cage. Speaking of Peyton Manning, let's take a sports break. On September 20th, Rob Gronkowski, tight end for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, said that he doesn't watch much film on his opponents. The reveal shocked literally no one when you consider that this is how Rob Gronkowski acts. Shocker. On Wednesday, September 22nd, Gronk then had to release a statement telling reporters, oh no, I watch tons of film. I watch an overload of film. I feel like I would be more likely to believe Gronk if his news conference didn't look like a politician apologizing for some kind of scandal. The Ryder Cup, a prestigious golf event, is taking place right now in my home state of Wisconsin in the city of Sheboygan. Hundreds of thousands of people have come to the event, and when asked by local news crews what they thought of the city of Sheboygan, all of them answered, wait, there's a city here? Our final sports news story for September is that Ben Simmons, point guard for the Philadelphia 76ers, has told the team he never wants to play for them again. The team released a statement saying, Ben, we don't even care. Get out of here. We don't want you to play for us either. Back to the news, the ongoing global crisis is about to reach its 19th month. That's right, 19 months. That's wild. I'm not sure what's worse. The fact that we're still battling this virus, or the fact that we're obnoxiously referring to its age like that tiger mom with her baby. Tabitha, how old is little Chad? Oh, Chad just turned 24 and a half months. Come on, Tabitha. Why not just say that your kid is 2.5 years old? Speaking of tigers, Netflix announced on September 23rd that they're going to have a season 2 of their hit documentary Tiger King. The announcement shocked the world, as many felt that the original Tiger King documentary wrapped up the saga very nicely. It was also announced that personalities like Joe Exotic and Carol Baskin will not be in season 2 of Tiger King. When asked why there's going to be a season 2, Netflix responded, money. And finally, a Massachusetts high school field trip went horribly wrong on September 20th. A group of high schoolers and their AP language and composition teacher were forced to ride a party bus complete with stripper pole and neon lights because of a bus and bus driver shortage in the state of Massachusetts. When students were asked what it was like to ride the party bus, Poindexter Bellhausen said, well, it was pretty cold on the bus, so when Patty licked the pole, her tongue got stuck. So that's the news for September 2021. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, if you laughed, if you find yourself relaxed, please consider subscribing. Once we hit 300 subscribers, we're going to do a giveaway of limited edition merch over on our Instagram page, so make sure you check that out as well. Comment below your favorite news story from September 2021. Until next time, this is the news. These are my thoughts, and I'll see you soon.
What do you think?
Hey, that would have been a really awesome field trip.
Yeah, that kind of reminded me of that stuff from Hudson last week.
Okay.
John, have you been following any of that? What was it, 264 or whatever from Hudson? The book.
You know, actually,
642.
the
ahead,
school
Jeff.
district one.
Yeah, 642, I think it was called. About the book that had 642 items you could write about, and they said it was perverted and sex ridden and everything else.
It was. It is. It asks you to write about what was it, like a sex scene or something that you wouldn't tell your mother or something like that.
You wouldn't show your mother.
Parents.
Sex scene you wouldn't show your mother.
Yeah, exactly.
And then clean it up enough that you could show your mother. Nah.
What do you mean?
That was the next part of the.
Well, it doesn't matter. Kids shouldn't be writing about that.
Exactly.
And then one, like, if you were a serial killer, like, I don't know what the rest of it was, but it was something about being a serial killer.
There was another thing that I don't know if it was connected to that, but this woman decided that she had heard that there was pornographic material floating around the high school in her area, and she found
that wasn't connected. I don't think.
And she found that there was some not only pornographic but rainbow-connected stuff, and by rainbow I mean
BTQ.
BTQ, yeah, and it was nothing I'd ever show my children, nor want to.
You got these loony people in these school boards and these administrations trying to indoctrinate our kids.
Well, that's just like the Hudson school system trying to do that. You know, that was just, you know, it doesn't seem like they give a darn, which they probably don't. But, you know, it's the difference in eras, too. If this would have been in my era or any of our eras, you know, hell, I remember I used to go to the library to get National Geographic so that was where I saw my first set of women's boobs. And
ironically, that was my era, though. Like, that was, when they started using that, would have been, I know I went to show, but that would have been my senior year of high school. They started using that.
And they ended up taking those National Geographics out, or editing, you know, slicing the picture out, so that you know, the poor kid, you know, they couldn't see it. And now all of a sudden you've turned this 180 degrees around, and you're letting them read porn about some guy putting another member in his mouth. Give me a break.
That's the kind of crap that's happening in colleges too.
Well, the colleges is understandable, but you're talking about kids that are under 18 years of age, or right at about 17 or 18. They shouldn't be reading that crap.
But that's my point. Is they're doing this in college, in their education degrees and different stuff, and then these kids are graduating, going to work for these school systems, and it just keeps bleeding down. I mean, that's not education.
Keith, you got a kid in school, or a couple of kids. How do you feel about that?
Too much, too soon.
Do you think that it should be allowed?
They're getting too much stuff too soon. No, I don't think
You
it
also
should be
got to
allowed.
look into. A lot of people are looking into this book as, sure, it's a high school students, but it was college. It was a college.
They're using that
program
college
they were
thing
in.
as an excuse, Melanie.
It doesn't
I
matter.
understand. Listen though. John just pointed out that kids are learning this in college. How old were you when you went to, well, when I went off to college, I was 18 years old.
But did you?
I was 18.
It doesn't matter though. Why do we need to write about sex scenes in college even? I mean, this
I know
isn't.
that. I understand that.
Education
But also,
is taking
also not just
is
the
not education
though.
anymore.
Look at the TV, Netflix. Any kid can get on Netflix. I'm watching a TV program right now that I just saw the girl having total sex. Her boobs were showing and everything. My son could have easily walked out here and saw that. He could easily get on to Netflix and watch it. You know, he had Grand Theft Auto gifted to him for Christmas at age 12.
I mean, there's a show, and I don't remember if it's MTV or Netflix, but it's mostly, and the premise is actually good because we need to show the young kids that, or not young kids, but like the teenagers, that sex isn't always the answer. So it's mostly, and I wish I remembered the name of it, but it's mostly putting these people in very high sexual pressuring situations, and they get like $10,000 for being on the show, and they lose that every time they fall into the temptation. And to try to teach them that you need to build, and the premise is good because it's trying to teach these young people that you have to build an emotional like an emotional bond within a relationship. It's not all about, you know, the sex, but kids nowadays think, you know, because that's what's taught in school, and I know we talked about this last week, but you know, they think it's encouraging kids, but
and sometimes when you try to hold back as a parent, I know this firsthand, the more you hold back from a child too, if you're not downright honest with him or her, what are they going to do? They're going to go out and rebel. You know, if they can't find that information out at home, they're going to find it out from their peers.
Well, that is a parent's choice. It is not the school system's choice to put that in front of a child.
Exactly.
So the thing is, we need to bring this up in a future show because I could talk about this for an hour.
Let us not forget that the parents had to sign a permission slip for this class.
Okay,
Yes.
With this topic, because Justine brought this up last week, and I kind of just did it again, but to ask John, because he wasn't on the show last week, when them teaching, you know, sex education, especially more in depth in high school, should they be doing that, or should they should that be on the parents? And if the parents aren't teaching that, then should the kid just not have to learn it? Who should that be
When my
on?
son was in 5th grade, I had to sign a waiver to let him participate in a sex education class in 5th grade.
Used to be 6th.
Well,
it was
way
5th.
too young. Well, I have to get going, guys. The last thing I'm going to say is the problem is the schools are doing things that parents should be doing, and we need to bring this up in another show because this is a very interesting topic where our kids are getting indoctrinated by these perverts and these people that they just don't care about, you know, family morals. They don't care about parents' choice. You know, that's a huge issue nowadays. Same thing with the vaccine. You know, I finally bit the bullet and I did it, but I don't know if
Now
I
they
want my
want you to-
kindergartner to have it.
Now they want you to get another one.
But anyways, I gotta go. I will see you guys later.
All right,
All right, John. Thank you.
Thanks for coming
see
in.
that they're putting they're putting the COVID vaccine in the flu shot. So if you didn't get the COVID vaccine, but you get the flu shot,
they're testing combinations of it. Yes, I've read that somewhere.
You're going to have your flu, have your COVID shot. They are not combining the two.
I don't know.
Well, I may do some research this week.
Well,
yeah.
With my doctor.
Thank you, Flora.
Yeah, that would actually be good because I've heard.
Well, I mean, the sad part is it was like earlier today something that I heard and whatever, and I told Patrick it's not going to matter if I point out differently. People are going to believe and feel what they're going to believe and feel no matter what I say. It's not going to matter. I mean, I certainly can back up whatever I find with facts as much as I can, but you all, or well, not you all, but, you know, people are going to believe what they're going to believe. And
everybody's entitled to their own opinion.
yeah, well, and the sad part with this COVID stuff is I know there's 2 couples in the Wayne County area that have been hit that I know of. One of the fellas was the owner of the storage unit that I had in Marshallville. He has passed away. His wife's in the hospital now, apparently on a ventilator. I went to school with another lady. She thankfully apparently is on the mend, but her husband's in, you know, but they're all in the Marshallville area. They all, I would say, did not get the shot. I can't say 100% for sure, but knowing their political views and some of the posts that they had made, I'm pretty sure, which is sad, very sad. But
back to the other subject.
Yeah.
When I was in school, they taught the biological aspect from it, not the act.
Yeah,
This
you're
is
right.
what we were talking about last week
they
too.
teach they teach about safe sex. You know, make sure
they
you
kind of
use a
touched
condom.
on that too, but
What we were talking about last week, and this still, I feel, is the best way to approach it, is they teach the biological side. They teach you what your what ovaries do. They go into an explanation. They don't go into the graphic, he's putting his dick in his mouth or anything like that, which I've seen, you know, some of the articles that I've read about this perverted book that's supposed to be in some of these schools was talking like that. That's completely wrong. The schools can handle this stuff and should be able to cover it to let the kid understand how his body works. I got no problem with that. But when you start getting graphic and going into graphic scenes and stuff like that, that's not their job to do that. Their job is to teach what the ovaries do, what the glands do, what creates, you know, how the kids, you know, how the sperm is created and what have you. It's not to tell them how to take and inject the sperm, for crying out loud. You know, that's. And this is why I feel this stuff has gone too far, even in the 6th, 7th, and 8th grades. You don't need to teach these kids how to do that.
I mean, even in
we were taught how to put a condom on a banana.
And that's wrong. That's wrong. I'm sorry, but that's wrong.
I mean,
that's not an 8th grade education.
That was when I was in school. When I was in 6th or 7th grade, I was shown how to put a condom on a banana.
That was like 5th or 6th grade, Melanie.
Yeah, 5th or 6th grade.
At Rankin.
Like that.
Yep.
I was going to say, when I was in 5th grade, I remember all the girls had to go to the gym to watch this video. All the boys went somewhere else, and they got told other stuff. Yep.
Yeah,
And then the trip down to Morley Health Center.
I remember they didn't even separate us. Like, they didn't show videos, but they didn't ever separate us in 5th and 6th grade.
Ours was a
Yeah.
cartoon drawing. I remember that. Of course, mine was way back in the day.
What day was
I mean,
that?
I feel
Yeah,
like
what day was that?
the whole, even with the whole condom thing, that shouldn't be taught by the schools. They should. I get the teaching healthy and unhealthy relationships. You know what a healthy relationship looks like, and you know if you're ever in the situation of an abusive relationship, you know signs to look for, which sometimes people miss those signs anyway. But it's good to know what the signs are. Going, you know, as you're growing up, but other than that, like the whole banana and condom thing, I think that's a little too much.
I got another thing.
But okay,
got another
I'll
thing
shut
to
up.
point out. Sorry.
No, you-
Okay, I was 26 when I got pregnant. And when I was 7 months along, I was going to what they call breastfeeding counseling. And you had to be at least 7 months along to be in breastfeeding counseling in Florida. 2 weeks prior to me being there, the counselor said that she had a 10-year-old girl in her class. 10.
Was this
So
girl
these
pregnant?
kids are, yes, you had to be pregnant and 7
7
months
months
along
along.
to be in her class.
Well, there's
And
a
she was
failure of the
10
parents there.
years old.
well, failure of the parents, or what if it was a case of like
I don't know
one of
all
the
that
parents
information, but I'm
had-
just saying
Yeah, I'm
it's
just
crazy.
I know.
You know how fast the girls nowadays are going into puberty way earlier than earlier than I started. You know, and so are the boys. You know, so you got to kind of, as a parent, you have to teach them, but also it takes a village. But I understand everybody. You shouldn't be teaching them about what Dad was saying. But I'm just saying they have to be understanding.
I want to say
you
one
know,
other thing
this
about
process.
this. You brought up about that your son getting gifted that game.
Because
If
we
that
probably
if
got
that was me, that and you kids were, you know, if that was your brother getting that game when he was 10 or 12, 10 or 11 years old, he wouldn't have gotten it because I would have had it. It wouldn't have happened. And that's the truth.
Right.
You can laugh all you want to. That's the way it is.
That's not because
It's-
Dad
You know
was
who
playing
got it
is
for him,
it's-
though?
I was going to say, we probably got it for
Grandpa
him.
got it for him.
Yeah, Grandpa got
If
it
I would have
for
known
him.
that was what was in that, it would have never happened.
Yeah.
I didn't know what was in that. And it's you as a parent, you know, even
Because
though
it was on the
I didn't
Christmas
realize
list. It was.
until he started playing it.
What
wasn't
game is
sure.
this?
Grand Theft
Grand
Auto.
Theft Auto.
There's all kinds of mods for that thing and everything else.
Luckily, though, my son, being the good kid he is, supposedly, I pray to God he's that way outside of the house. He plays as the paramedic or the cop. Every time I'm in that room to go in there to check on him, he's always, put your hands up, you're under arrest. And he's got the little, like the ambulance or the cop car with him. And,
Oh, I'd be.
you know, he's always arresting people. So
You better watch
luckily,
that
I
one.
have never caught him without anything else.
You better watch that one.
He's
well,
always saying
it also
things that
depends
he wants to be
on
an
what.
EMT, so
It also depends on which version of the game you have, because I'll admit I play it, and you know, I mean I'm an adult, that's different, but you know, I would never let a kid that young play it, because I would I wouldn't want to expose my kid to that till they were 13 or 14. I don't know what they're doing over, I wouldn't know what my kid would be doing over at their friend's house, but, I can't control that, but I hope they'd have the, respect that if I tell them, hey, don't do this, I mean, okay, my friend wasn't, I'll admit, when I was that young, my friend wasn't supposed to play it, and I would bring it to his house, but, okay. But, yeah, I know. But him and his younger brother would beg me, so what would I do? But anyway, yeah, bad influence. I am just a bad influence all around.
All right. It's
But
about
anyway.
that time. We need to wrap this up. So.
Okay. Go ahead, Pat.
Anything to wrap up?
Just anybody listening, tune in tomorrow, 11 a.m. for Hashtags and Football with Pat and I. We'll be recapping the Ohio State game and the Browns game and any big headlines around the NFL, including this Andy Reid story, as more comes out by tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Other than that, have a good week, everybody.
I've been catching that a little bit here and there. It's a pretty good show.
Thank you. We're actually doing pretty well listener-wise. It's getting
And
views.
look for Lights on Lynn on Facebook. LYNN.
What? Lights
Yes,
on Lynn.
Lights on Lynn.
I joined that group.
Yeah, I did too.
I didn't know
I
who
saw
the hell
that.
it was. Dale, anything? Dale, wake up. Hello? Hello?
He was there.
Yeah, where?
I see him. You.
Hello?
I think you're there.
Anything to wrap up?
Quote. Oh, who was that that quoted that? I'm not sure if this was Rufus from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, George Carlin, but I'll just make a quote from that. Be excellent to one another.
That's all you got?
Hey, he's tired.
I got a headache.
yeah, he's got a headache. That's all he's got. Jeez. So are you when do you go back to work then? Not to give you more of a headache to think about it, but
No, Monday.
oh, on Monday. Okay.
I think, yeah, because I'm here until I leave here Thursday morning.
Okay.
Yeah, alrighty.
Maybe we can do something over the weekend.
Well, you be safe. So.
Yeah. You be safe, and we'll see everybody next week. Keith, I'd like to end with your song, but if you don't have Guinness, I'm not going to do it. Do you have your Guinness or whatever?
No, I don't. I got lemonade tonight. From Chick-fil-A.
I'm trying to put this on YouTube, and I had to change the song, the beginning song and the end. But if you want me to, I'll play yours. I'll just have to cut it out at the off
You
of
don't
YouTube.
have to.
All right. Anyway, we'll go ahead and wrap it up for the night. Thanks, everybody. It's been an interesting conversation, and we will catch everybody next week. Have a blessed week. 7-3, and later bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.
We hope you enjoyed this presentation of Radioactive by the Crooked River Radio Network. See you again soon.